Bitcoin over $100,000. There's a particular event that, when it occurs, will make this a reality. So the questions are, what is this event? How soon will it happen? What are the odds this actually happens? And how can you take advantage of it? To answer all that, we need to first dive into the news. Why is Bitcoin on the rise in the first place right now? I mean, just look around. Bitcoin's everywhere. Every news anchor is talking about it. It's on every news site. Why is Bitcoin on the rise? You look at the articles, you see all kinds of reasons. It's seen a massive surge of 60% in the last 2 months. Obviously, that's huge. That's newsworthy. That's why it's being reported. The last time it was this high was before the Terra Luna crash. RIP to me and RIP to everyone else who got our ass kicked in that one. But we survived. We're better. We're hopefully smarter. And hopefully we won't do anything like that again. We'll see. So Bitcoin's everywhere. Why? And how does this relate to the one thing that will blow Bitcoin past $100,000 almost certainly? Well, Bitcoin's price, it's pretty obvious if you think about it, is a result of supply and demand. Turns out that both sides of that equation right now have a whole lot going for themselves. Bitcoin's supply is based on two major factors. First, the total amount of Bitcoin there will ever be. And second, the amount of Bitcoin that is released in the form of block rewards. Released meaning you can now trade that Bitcoin. It's essentially unlocked. It's mathematically impossible to change the total amount of Bitcoin, but it turns out the amount of Bitcoin that is released as block rewards shrinks over time. Every 4 years, the amount of Bitcoin that released into the open tradable market is sliced in half. That, you've probably heard it before, is referred to as the Bitcoin halving event. Maybe you're an expert on that term, maybe you've heard it, but you never really, felt like looking into it. That's all you really need to know. Every 4 years, the amount of supply that's released into the open market cuts in half. The reason this matters is because of the other side of the Bitcoin price equation, demand. This simply means, how bad do people want to buy Bitcoin? Because if more people want to buy Bitcoin tomorrow than they did today, and the total supply stays the same, guess what happens? The price goes up. That's supply and demand. That's how it works. So demand here is really just a function of the interest in and ease of purchasing Bitcoin. If more people are interested in purchasing it and it's easier to purchase Bitcoin, the price will go up. Can you imagine if all of a sudden it became insanely easy for everyone in the world to purchase Bitcoin? They could do it without knowing a single thing about the blockchain. They could do it as easy as logging into their bank account. Even your grandma could do it without even really thinking about it. That's about to happen. Coming as soon as mid-January 2024, we could see a Bitcoin ETF launch, a spot ETF. That's the important distinction here. This quite literally means that Bitcoin will be mainstream, officially. Mainstream in that anyone will be able to purchase Bitcoin on any stock brokerage without needing a crypto exchange and without needing to know anything about crypto. Now let's go back to our supply and demand equation and visualize this impact. And don't worry, we're still going to talk about the event that will make Bitcoin go over $100,000. So we know that the supply of Bitcoin will forever be the same, and the amount of Bitcoin added to the open market to be tradable will be sliced in half. So if demand increases, there's only one direction for the price of Bitcoin. If demand increases, up. That leaves us with one single question. Will a spot Bitcoin ETF, meaning Bitcoin exposure, will be readily available to nearly every investor on Earth? Will that increase demand for Bitcoin? If you answer that question yes, you can safely say you feel the price of Bitcoin will go up. That's a pretty healthy sign. But it's not the only healthy sign, because the good old Fed is helping out Bitcoin as well, whether they like it or not. See, the Fed, they made some comments recently about interest rates. They offered two pieces of good news for crypto. First, we're looking at interest rate cuts in 2024. This is extremely important. The higher the interest rate, the slower the economy moves. Think of interest rates like friction. The more friction, between two objects, the more friction, the harder it is for those objects to move. If there's like one thing sliding on a surface or another, the more friction, the harder that thing is to move. You grease it up, it moves faster. Interest rates are monetary friction. They're monetary friction in that it costs more money for businesses and people to move quickly. That means the whole economy slows down, the friction increases when interest rates are the highest. And when the economy slows down, the most impacted areas are the highest risk areas, which in this case are things like growth stocks, like a tech stock that is based on some speculative kind of technology, or crypto. Those things get impacted, the riskier investments get impacted when the whole economy slows down. Now that we're hearing that this friction, aka interest rates, will be lowered in 2024, making things move more smoothly, make things move more easily, Prices are going up in anticipation of this lower friction environment. It's the reason why tech stocks are now climbing alongside the crypto market. And then there's the second reason, the second piece of good news from the Fed. Inflation seems to be finally starting to chill out. And again, this is thanks to interest rates and this grinding halt of the economy, which feels like pretty bad. I mean, just look around. Just be aware. Being aware is such an important piece of being a good investor. Like, don't just look at your Twitter feed. Don't just look at YouTube. Like, go out and just what are people doing? How are they actually behaving? Are people around you spending money? Does the world and your community feel rich right now? My perception is people are hardly spending right now. Like, I remember in about 2018, I was in Chandler, Arizona. I was driving down the road and almost every single car passing me was like a luxury car. And I was like, this cannot be sustainable. This seems insane. But right now, it feels much more like people are scared to purchase. Perfect example, I have 2 box trucks for sale in Phoenix right now. Both are priced below market rates. I received almost zero interest in purchasing them, not even lowball offers in a few weeks. 2 years ago, those trucks would have been sold in days and above market prices. People are extremely scared with their money right now, which in a weird way is kind of a good thing. A kind of a good sign. It's good because it means there's a downward pressure on inflation. Inflation will go down if fewer people are buying things. So we have lots of good things to point to right now, helping out the price of Bitcoin, getting to, new highs relative to where we've been. And I didn't even cover everything. There's meme coins like Bonk that are taking off. That's not an endorsement at all. It's just a sign that crypto isn't dead. El Salvador, that country that was made fun of forever for investing in crypto, well, they're now positive in their Bitcoin investments. There's so much going on right now, but none of this is the true event that leads Bitcoin to passing $100,000. That true event is FOMO, fear of missing out. This matters more than you could ever imagine. The number one reason why an investment goes up in price is its price. Seriously, the reason why an investment goes from $1 to $2 is because it first goes to $1.01 and people see that thing going up and they want to ride that thing to go up further. That's the number one reason because of the psychology behind it. So stick with me here so you can understand the true power of FOMO, and we're going to discuss how soon this will happen, what are the odds of this true FOMO event, how you can take advantage of it, and why this is still early. FOMO is inherent in all of us, unfortunately. It has such a deep psychological pull. FOMO is the reason why you stay at the party too late even though you're tired and you know nothing good happens after midnight. FOMO is the reason why there's a cultural need to have the next iPhone. And FOMO is the reason why people hop on an investment and try to ride that trend even though it's usually too late for the average person when the average person finds out about it. FOMO is what will bring Bitcoin up over $100,000, whether you like it or not, whether you want to admit that or not. The odds of this are nearly 100% if you look at this bull-bear cycle of crypto. It happens every single time. It's the reason why the price goes up. Every single time. It's the underlying psychological reason. There's always events that lead to a price increase, but then the further price increase is because of FOMO. It's the reason why meme coins blow up too, because you're not buying it because you think it's a good investment. You're buying it because you don't want to miss out on the potential gains. That's FOMO. So here's how I see this playing out with Bitcoin, if it plays out. Bitcoin will slowly climb in price past the low 40,000s into the 50s. That's when it gets real. That's when everyone who's already in crypto will be back. Your friends will be messaging you like, man, should I buy some more Bitcoin? Everyone's going to be religiously checking their crypto accounts to see what's happening, who's already in crypto. Most investors at this point will be in the green. Some will sell because they've just been holding these negative portfolios for like 2 years. They're done with the stress. They're out of Bitcoin, probably until the price increases further, then they'll buy back in. That's a different story. As long as sentiment keeps climbing, so will the price of Bitcoin despite fluctuations along the way. And I'm just saying Bitcoin as a proxy for all cryptos. It'll be led by Bitcoin, but then all other cryptos will follow as a result. So let's just say it keeps creeping up through the $50,000 range into the low 60s. This is when it gets crazy. This is when everyone who's been in crypto starts doubling down, buying more and more, poising themselves for the next true bull run, the one that will finally make them a millionaire. FOMO at this point has set in big time. Everyone's thinking, man, I wish I should have bought Bitcoin at $25,000. I knew it was going to go up from there. What the hell was I thinking? So they buy now, like $65,000 or whatever. And then finally after that, we have Bitcoin in the $70,000 range. This is when things are just insane. Bitcoin will be in full FOMO territory. New investors will be piling in by the second. We'll have this positive feedback loop of people who bought at $20,000. They're showing their mega profits on Twitter. By the way, follow me on X. Follow me on X. I'll have that link below. But you'll have these people having their screenshots of just massive profits at the same time promising that if you get in right now, you could be rich too. All you have to do is buy. So of course everyone buys because you want to be rich too. This is when we see the price moving easily and quickly past that $100,000 mark. But how soon could this happen? I don't see this happening sooner than Q1 2024, but I wouldn't be surprised if this took upwards of a year longer, if we're just being honest with ourselves. There's going to be a lot of turbulence on this price climb. And for FOMO to truly set in, you need prices to jump quickly. If this is extremely slow and turbulent along the way, there's just not going to be a whole lot of excitement around it until it's in record high prices. So that's a key sign you want to watch out for, is those like quick jumps. We've had a few, like popularity is increasing, but keep an eye out for that. Crypto is psychology. The price of crypto is not based on a tangible asset. It's not based on cash flows. It isn't based on something that you dig out of the earth. It's based on the sentiment of the people. So if you want to understand the price of crypto in the future, do everything you can to better understand the psychology of investors. The people who will truly benefit from the next price explosion have already purchased crypto. Probably purchased it through the entire bear market and are constantly studying investor psychology. Now there is a problem. It's impossible to understand investor psychology if you don't first understand yourself and your own limitations. But the good news is I made a video that shows you exactly how to solve that. Click that video on screen and level up your life. Love you. Goodbye.